Yeah, that's good.
All righty. And now I remember to record instead of record when somebody's talking, because it's not very quiet when it just starts to record.
Yeah.
Okay. Go live. Here we are going live on Facebook. All righty. Good morning, everyone. I am here with my friend Allison, and I am just really inspired by her story of where she, the diagnosis and stuff she got as a kid and what she went through as a mom, and to who she is now as an amazing, inspiring, successful leader. So I will let you take it on there, Allison.
Oh, thank you so much, Pamela. Reflections. Like, I'm just so proud of, everyone for seeing you overcome so much and be able to, the reason I needed to be successful was because I needed to show people who have been giving these diagnoses and have been put through the ringer of our systems that they can break free and they can actually do incredible things in this world that we were never given options for. It was never, it was like XYZ. It's like you either you get it, you go to school, you go to university, you get a job, or you're a bum. It's like there's no kind of like there was no in between. And this is like the perfect, I see this as like the perfect vehicle for people like us. Because it's all about, first of all, healing our gut. So a lot of us who have been diagnosed with these issues have been diagnosed and suffered because of gut issues. And we don't even realize that because doctors just don't understand that. They're never looking at our diet when they're, analyzing our mental health. And they're so quick to give us a label and to put us on a medication and to marginalize us into like a stereotype. Like, you are now dependent on the system. Like you have no, there's no options for you. Like, that's kind of the way I felt when I was growing up and given all these different, like going from psychiatrists to therapists to all these different, things. It was just like, this is your life. And we don't see great examples in our society of people becoming, successful leaders who have been through these challenges. So I never saw people like myself, successful until I started seeing people in our industry, like until I started seeing people here. And so not only is the food and the gut repair so essential for people like us who may have, had these struggles, but the community, the support that we never got, most of us also suffer with mental health because of lack of proper support and community, because I think all of us can thrive if we're loved properly and we're supported in the right ways. And that's another part, but then also the business opportunity, right? Because there was never an option of what I could really do to make money besides these minimum wage jobs. Like it was like I wasn't qualified because I couldn't go through all these levels of schooling. I couldn't be qualified for a high paying job. I was stuck at this like 35K a year kind of bracket. I couldn't get past because I didn't have those credentials and I didn't have that confidence and I didn't like the corporate world. So I think from all those elements, this is like the perfect fit for people like us.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I was told I'd just struggle my entire life. So yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. I've never seen anybody with debilitating mental illness like I suffered from succeed at all. They just told me I'd either be institutionalized or I end up killing myself. And what kind of that's what kind of future is that? Not a good one. So thank you for thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, it's like each other, we're inspiring each other. I know, we have our ups and downs and we have our doubts because we're still healing. But, to have this like community that we can, we're incentivized to help each other. That's another big reason why this is actually such a magical kind of a system, because we've never been given this kind of support. Most of us have never even known this is possible, to have people who actually care about our success, because it's brilliant to incentivize helping other people. That you can't succeed unless you help other people. And so it's like, we just have each other, because this is a symbiosis it creates, that of course I want you to succeed. It helped me when you succeed, so of course I'm gonna like support you. And then this is, I just think it sets us all up. It sets us all up for success in the best way.
Do you mind telling us what kind of things you were diagnosed as a kid?
Yeah. So from really young, like 5 years old, I was put through all these auditory processing assessments, because they just were telling my mom, the teachers were always saying Allison isn't listening, she's not processing. And so I went through a series of they tested my hearing and all these different things, right? And the diagnosis kept coming up that I'm ADD. And at that time, that was kind of this, I think the 90s was when ADD was kind of it seemed to be, I guess, because I speak to a lot of people now, that was they started really diagnosing this ADD. And my mom actually was really proud of this label in a way, because she suffered with the same issues that I had, but it was never acknowledged in her generation. So she was actually very grateful that it was acknowledged, and that, and she would tell me, and this was something I heard over and over again, you're so lucky that you have this label, because now you don't have to. It's kind of it was almost in a way a cop out. I was able to get through school by saying I have ADD, so I don't have to finish tests at the same time. I don't have to do, it was kind of this label that really stuck throughout school, and I would keep getting reassessed because of, different, it would come up different places, and I kept getting reassessed. And finally at 11 years old, they put me on medication for it, which my parents, they didn't, I don't blame them, because it was so new, this medication. And well, it's not so new, I guess I think it's been used for other, it was kind of like a street drug that they made into a pharmaceutical. But yeah, it's basically like speed. But they rebranded it in pharmaceuticals for calling it Ritalin. And they, told my parents that it was completely safe. And so I was put on a really high dose, from really small. I was 11 years old, and I was put on 10 milligrams every day. So it was 20 milligrams a day, 10 in the morning, 10 at lunchtime. And I would have to every day take it. So every single day from 11 years old until even throughout my whole entire, until 26 years old, I was basically dependent, because I didn't think my brain could function without it. Now I'm off of it, so go figure. But I was on it for all those years. And then that led me to, I really believe that led me to my anxiety. I started to develop really bad social anxiety. I started to get really bad insomnia. I couldn't sleep at night. It affected my appetite. I couldn't eat. So I just had a lot of struggle with food and sort of weird things like that. And then I was put on instead of kind of looking at the root, so, you know, I also had really bad acne, so I was put on Accutane. I had, and then they was put on the birth control pill, and all of this, like, you know, one medication led to another kind of symptom. So I was then in my 20s diagnosed with depression and anxiety. I was put on some more medications, and when I got pregnant was when I really wanted to get off my medications. Even though the doctors told me it was totally safe to be on my SSRI and my sleeping pill, because they said it was more important that my, you know, mental health was, but they, it's like, I wish I just knew more, you know, because doctors will tell you it's, anyway, I got off most of my medications for pregnancy. And then it came back when I got, after my second pregnancy, I was diagnosed as postpartum psychosis. And I was, well, labeled bipolar. So a few different doctors that gave me different labels, but it was bipolar, bipolar 2, and postpartum psychosis. And so then I was put on some stronger medications. And that's when I realized, like, I can't go down this path with these doctors and labels and medications anymore.
Wow. So how did you find, is that when you started like your nutrition journey, and because you went vegan first, right?
Yeah, it was interesting how I went vegan. I went vegan because my daughter, who I was breastfeeding at the time, was dairy intolerant. So I just cut out the dairy. And I figured once I'm cutting out the dairy, and I noticed an improvement in my health when I cut out the dairy. So I was like, wow, what a blessing that my daughter was like allergic to it, because I started to feel better. And that's when I started learning more about eating plant-based, because I was concerned I wasn't going to get the calcium if I wasn't, we have all these stories that we've been told, and I was concerned I wasn't going to get enough nutrition if I wasn't eating dairy. So I started learning about plant-based alternatives, and I went down the rabbit hole there and started, watching documentaries about and what the health, and I went plant-based, and it really started to, that's what woke up the connection that food has to our mental health.
And how long was it before you started to see effects on your mental health?
Like pretty soon, because meat, I didn't realize that energetically, I was feeling guilty when I was buying this meat at the grocery store. I just felt I needed to, right? So we need to for our health, but it was going against something spiritually in me. And so it was always conflicting. So I think just that alleviating, putting, not causing as little harm as I could, just helped me spiritually. And also just getting in more nutrition, because I was more concerned with filling in those, with making sure I was getting enough nutrition, I started to be more attentive to what I was eating. So I think, just eating more fruits and veggies is going to make anyone feel better. And, but I still, so I did feel better, but I still struggled. It wasn't the be all and end all. I still struggled with, I had a few issues that they improved. And I was like, oh, maybe this is as good as I can get, but they didn't completely go away or anything like that.
And then you met somebody who gave you a gift code, and you started the most fabulous superfoods and up level.
Yes.
From there.
Yes, that was truly cheers. That was a huge gift. Beyond my wife, I didn't realize what this gift was, how important this gift was when she gave it to me. But that gut repair, she's like, have you ever heard of glyphosate? And that was something I had no awareness of. And when I started to, detox with the biomedic and flood my cells with real organic, high quality nutrition that I wasn't getting from grocery stores, even if I was juicing and making smoothies and eating the rainbow, the quality of our food in grocery stores is super depleted. So even if we think we're eating, I was eating kale and all these things, but because they're saturated with glyphosate usually, and they're picked weeks before, I didn't realize I was never getting really high quality nutrition until I started really feeling what that felt like. And it was just a crazy game changer. I mean, like, I've never had anything that had such a drastic effect. Like the plant-based thing totally did have an effect. And I'm always going to say that was like a gateway for me. But this was like, it like up leveled me leaps and bounds from where I was. And I would say that, especially for mental health, I had no idea that I could even feel this good until I started to do this. And it's been 5 years of just, I can't get, it doesn't get old, like when you have this quality nutrition at your fingertips, it just, life just keeps getting better. So it's been like miraculous transformation over the past 5 years.
I know I'll be going somewhere and I'll be like, how am I going to support my mental health today? Well, I'll make the most fabulous, my favorite protein shakes take with me. So, and then you joined the company and you've become like the most amazing top leader in the company. And it's amazing to know where you came from to where you are now. And I can totally see myself there as well, which I have, I've never seen that anywhere ever. Thought that, I can do the same thing. I'm following in your footsteps. It's pretty special.
Mhm.
So,
Very.
and I like that I asked you a while ago I at one of our team meetings that you guest starred in, is everything perfect? And you said no, like you still have your struggles, you still have. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but as long as I have my nutrition at top notch, I can deal with those struggles that come up. They don't knock me down
Mhm.
for days. They may be, I'm maybe down for an hour thinking I can't do this, but it's not days and months. And sometimes it's been years. So,
Mhm. Mhm. It's so amazing. I have chills all over my body as you were talking, but it's so amazing that not only is this nutrition, of course, supporting our gut and our mental health, so we could actually, like you said, handle situations, but that this business allows us an opportunity to even use those challenges. Like it creates this, like, it's like now when I'm getting knocked down, I'm like, wait, I could channel that into something that could help someone else, or it's like it puts us into this position of, like, you know, leadership that we never would have an opportunity for. And it's like this vehicle that we could, it's like I'm almost grateful sometimes, I'll say, or I find the gratitude in the challenges because I get to have something else to offer as like, because every trigger is a teacher, so I get to like lean into it, like, why is this hurting me so much? Like recently I've had a lot of because we're very sensitive people, and we're healing as we come into this. And so it's been a struggle as people pleasers to suddenly have people like reject us or not like us. And it's like, that's been something that it was holding me back in a lot of areas in my life that I never leaned into. But here I get to like learn through it and get stronger through it and remember, like apply those 4 agreements and say, like, don't take things personally, and like allow myself to like use it as something, to use the pain to heal deeper in that place.
wow, that's amazing because I love being able to, just message you and going, oh my gosh, like, am I people pleasing? And you totally get, you don't, like in my life, I'm just used to getting shit for that, or, and you're just, yeah, I feel like we're learning together, I guess. Um, um, so how long did it take you, like once you made that shift of, because when you first started in this leadership position, like before you really got into a leadership position, you kind of, um, you weren't really, I don't know, invested or didn't really see the vision. What was the catalyst, or what was that moment where you were just, wow, I'm going to the top. I can do this.
Mm, that's such a great question. It's a really, really great question. I feel like I haven't answered that ever yet. Yeah, so it was a series of things. When I first was brought in, I was very needy and kind of dependent on my enroller, and I didn't think I could do it on my own. Like I didn't think I could ever host a Zoom or I could ever do anything. And like this is a blessing that, I was kind of in a way, there was no community. There was no kind human tribe when I joined. I was kind of thrown into the Team Win, which is a great group that Sonia Magruder's like, and they're super high professionals. And I was just like looking at them being like, I could never do that. Like, but it was much like what inspired. Okay, so I remember, I'll never forget you messaging me after you heard me on Leslie Zan speak, because it was through, actually one of the people I saw that gave me that aha moment that I could do this too was when I saw Kimberly Sanders on stage at one of these recorded, it was like from their original Diamond Club, and Kimberly Sanders was standing up on stage holding her like petty unicorn and just speaking, in Kimberly speak, like from her heart. And it was so inspiring. I was just like, oh, they're not all kind of like that. Because it's like we're so used to seeing someone in success, how they look, how they speak. And it opened the door. It was like, oh, I could just be me. And the world I needed to hear her do that just the same way you needed to hear me, just the same way there's going to be so many people who are just going to need to see you shine in your light. So that's really it really woke me up to know I can't be how other people are. I have to do this. I have to be the leader I needed to see. And so it really allowed me the permission to like lean in all of my flawed or, just not being perfect, not being super professional. It really was like that aha moment. And it took me, it was really important to listen to others. It's really important to go onto those calls because we need to see so many different types of people in order to put the pieces together in our head that we can do this too.
I'll never forget listening to that Leslie Zan call, because I was in Superstore shopping. I was going through the produce section, and it was like early on in my nutrition journey. So I was still like brand new to shopping at the grocery store, on the outside of the grocery store, and just bawling my eyes out walking through the grocery store. So yeah, I'll never forget that. And I was terrified to message you and say that, but I had to anyway. I just had to.
I was so grateful for you. I was nervous to be, and I'm so excited for you to be on a Leslie call. And because it was really, I'd never done anything like that. And I'd never been recognized, or I've never been like celebrated on that kind of level. And it was just like, I was just so, yeah, I'm so happy it reached you, you know, like I needed to see, we need so much variety of people in roles of leadership, because all of us can reach different people.
Ooh, wow, that's pretty amazing. And like, I mean, you have the amazing Jared, but uh, uh, I'm doing it alone, but I am not alone. That's for sure. Not alone. We have such an amazing community. So,
Yeah, you know, like I have my Jared, but it comes in different forms, our support. You know, we call in the people, you're calling in the people that are like you, they, you know, we all complete each other. It's like we're all pieces of this puzzle together. So you're gonna find that, you know, you're already building so many partners and people, and you know, yeah, it took me like a year and a half to get Jared on board with me. But I just think I just held that vision of manifesting that he was going to do this, and that, you know, or if it wasn't Jared who was going to join me, it would have been, I would have called in partners who were going to, like, you know, complete that, like, just to work with people. It's so fun. You know, you want, like, I was like, why would my friends say no to me to work together? Like, how much fun is that? We get to work together.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. It it's truly amazing, truly amazing. Yeah, you don't see many leaders like you, so I really wanted to, I really want the world to hear your story. So thank you,
Thank you,
Allison.
Pamela. Thank you so much. Thank you for seeing me. I see you and I'm so proud of you. And I know that you're going to be inspiring thousands of people that never thought they could. So I'm so grateful to just witness you blooming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Okay,
Bye.
bye.